Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to take you through what it looks like for me to meal prep, as well as what a typical grocery shopping experience looks like. So I'm headed to Trader Joe's today, Whole Foods, possibly Walmart, but I wanted to show you products that I get there weekly and products that I really love, as well as try out some new products as well. I wanted to start by going through how I meal prep. So this is one of the first things I would recommend to a client if they are looking to start eating more nutrient-dense foods, is to start meal prepping, okay? So, or meal planning, not so much prepping, but meal planning for sure. So I have just this cheap journal that I got from Target. You can see I have these like tabs here. And so one tab is for movement, where I plan out my weekly movement. The other one is for socials, so what I want to put out content-wise. And then the last one is nourishment. Under nourishment, you can see here, I have my meal prep list. I have some recipes here that I found that I want to try, and then I have just a blank page. So what you're going to start doing is you're going to do every day, you're going to write that down, but you're only going to put one meal down, okay? And I'll explain that in a little bit. So go ahead on your blank sheet of paper, write every single day of the week starting from today. So today for me is Thursday. I'm drawing a line underneath it. I'm just doing an S for supper, and then I'm going to write what I am going to prep for that. Okay, so go ahead and do that for every day. Days that you know you won't be eating at home or you won't be able to cook a meal, maybe you're out and about, write that in so you know you don't need to purchase anything for that meal. Okay, so once you've done that, you're gonna, like I said, write supper and then what you're gonna eat with that. On each one, I also want you to say what the protein source is going to be, okay? So as we look towards nourishing our bodies, we wanna make sure we're getting adequate protein, fats, and carbs, but protein is really one that's gonna help you sustain some of that energy. It's gonna build muscle if you're doing some form of movement. It's also gonna keep you full for longer. So you always wanna make sure that you have some sort of protein in your meal. So I'll go through and I'm gonna show here on this side of the screen too what I'm gonna make. All of these meals I've made before. If you need some inspiration, I do have a recipe guide, or Pinterest is also a great place to look. But for me, tonight, for Thursday, we're gonna do cashew Alfredo pasta, and the protein source in that is gonna be the pasta noodles. Because I get red lentil pasta, there's a high amount of protein in those noodles. Friday, I know I'm out with friends, don't need to make anything. Saturday, we're doing taco salads, the protein source is beef. On Sunday, we'll do the vegan pesto pasta with chicken, so protein source is both the pasta and the chicken. Monday, we're gonna do some salmon bowls, so protein is the salmon. Tuesday, we're gonna do chili with beef, so beef is the protein source. And then Wednesday, we are going to do paninis on fresh sourdough. So the protein source with that one would be some deli turkey. So the reason that I only had you write out for supper this time when we're meal planning is because I think it's important to follow the make something once, eat twice rule. So you prepare a meal once, so I'm gonna make supper. Obviously I'm making one meal one time, okay? But then I know for lunch on Friday, Luna's back there. My lunch is going to then be the leftover cashew Alfredo pasta. You're making double, but it's also saving you time that you have to make that second meal during the day. So lunch is always a good time for leftovers. If you're okay with eating leftovers, that's going to eliminate a whole meal that you have to prepare. And then if you have something that you're comfortable eating consistently for breakfast, for me, I'm sure you know by now, that's overnight oats, so I always have that prepared. Then you already have all 3 meals for the day planned out and you don't have to stress about those. Now that I've written this all out, I'm gonna quickly make a grocery list, and then next time you see me, we'll be grocery shopping. Okay, so just got done at Trader Joe's. That is where I buy a bulk of my groceries, just because I feel like I get the best prices there and it all lasts a pretty decent time in my fridge. It's also less expensive than Whole Foods, and honestly Walmart and Trader Joe's, I would say for me at least, feel pretty comparable. So that is where I get all my fresh produce, almost everything. If I need house things like parchment paper I need and flour, So I'm gonna try Whole Foods, and then if they don't have what I'm looking for, I'm gonna go to Walmart. I feel like one big thing I often hear is that buying fresh produce is really expensive, but it all just depends on what you're buying, and also if you know you're using it all up, I think it's worth the purchase. But like, for example, I got all my produce at Trader Joe's because I would never think to get produce at Whole Foods just because it's really expensive, and we try to budget every week about $100 for groceries, which that's feeding 2 people, and my husband eats quite a bit of food, so it's kind of like feeding 3 people, and so we try to budget for $100. We do buy in bulk our chicken, and then we also get beef for my parents, so we do get helped out in terms of protein, you know, with getting beef, and then also just kind of bulk purchasing chicken. Each week I do typically buy some type of salmon to switch it up, or I'll buy that protein pasta like I've been talking about. So there are some ways you can make it really affordable, so I'm going to go more in depth into that when I get home and I'm unboxing my groceries with you. So I wanted to go ahead and show you what I got. Everything I got, and I'm going to total it up at the end, but it was a little over $100. This time I got a couple things that I don't typically get because I'm going to like a Valentine's Day party, so I got some extra fruit, and then I also got an Italian soda. So some things like that that are just a little not typical for week to week, but still I think to feed 2 people, one man that eats about twice as much as I do, and then myself, for about a little over $100 a week is really good. If you think going out to a restaurant 2 times in 1 week is going to be well over $100. I'm going to start by showing you the snacks I got first. So I got these plantain chips. I haven't tried them before, but I really love plantain chips. I haven't had this brand, but I looked on the back because seed oils is something that I try to avoid, especially with following that anti-inflammatory diet or way of eating. So this is made with plantains, coconut oil, and pink Himalayan sea salt. So excited about those. I got some almond flour crackers and rosemary and sea salt. And then I got chomps. I've heard a ton about these. I'm trying to really increase my protein intake. I don't usually go for beef sticks, but I got one in chicken and one in turkey. So those should be good. The other snack I got was just mango slices. And so this is just dried mango, nothing else. Sometimes you'll see in dried fruit that there's a lot of sugar with them, but these are just mangoes. So really excited about that. Otherwise, I'll take you here. I'll show you what I'm going to make with what I've got. So I have Brussels sprouts, mushrooms, avocados. So avocados, mushrooms, and then I guess I already have, oh, and the onion. That's all going to be for our taco salads. I already have lettuce. Then for chili, I got some canned tomatoes, tomato sauce, and tomato paste. For our paninis, I got the turkey breasts. And then I always get fruit, and then green grapes, and then I got some strawberries and blueberries to top my oats. Something I always also keep is that chicken broth. I've mentioned that before in my stories. Really great for soups. And then I'm really excited about this. I got some tart cherry juice. Cherry juice is really good for that muscle recovery when working out. And so after working out or before working out, to have some tart cherry juice is actually supposed to be really good for those muscles and for recovery. So I'm gonna make my gut gummies for this next round out of cherry juice. I got flour, parchment paper, and then some rosemary. I'm gonna try to make some rosemary sourdough bread this next week. So some things that I've noticed can help cut down your cost is, I mentioned before, buying your protein in bulk. Along with, I make my own tortillas, typically out of my sourdough discard. Same with like muffins, all of that is made with that discard from the sourdough. But then I do make my own sourdough bread every week, which is something that I never ever thought I would do. My friend Emily, she made sourdough for me for a long time when we worked together because I just swore I would never make it. because it seemed really overwhelming and difficult. But now that I make it, I love that I'm able to make my own bread at home, so we don't have to buy any of that at the store. And I also realized just with having the discard that goes in the fridge, you kind of split your starter in half. Half goes in the fridge, half stays on the counter to ferment. But I've been able to really experiment with recipes. Tortillas and muffins are things that I make pretty often with that. I also made some dumpling soup. So things like that can really help cut costs as well, because you're just paying for flour. And I get the King Arthur unbleached all-purpose flour. And one of those is about $4 to $5, but you can make, I mean, probably 2 to 3 loaves of bread or a variety of other recipes with that. Okay, so I actually went through and totaled up what all of this cost me to get this week. Again, a lot of fresh produce. This is going to make meals for an entire week. My total was $110.84. Okay, so like I've said, that's feeding 2 people for every meal for supper and lunch and breakfast for an entire week. So I think that's pretty crazy. Again, if you go out to eat, I mean, that's like 2 meals going out to eat, or if you get a coffee every single morning, that definitely adds up quickly. So being able to prepare things at home is super important, and it's gonna save you a lot of money. With, when I go and do my coaching, a big thing is I don't want people to feel like in order to eat healthy that they have to spend a lot of money. Okay, that's just not the case, and I think that an excuse that we use to maybe justify for eating more processed, boxed foods is because it's cheaper. Those aren't fresh ingredients. I mean, I think finding more foods like that you really have to both use up, but also are gonna give your body the adequate nutrients that it needs to feel good and to fuel you throughout the day is just super, super important. So I'd encourage you to kind of set a budget for yourself and see how close you can stick to that. Like I mentioned before, I bought a couple things. I bought some more fruit and an Italian soda for that Valentine's event that I'm going to. But other than that, I mean, this is really a bulk of what I'm going to use to make food this week. And so I think that's a really good price to stick to. So again, I challenge you to come up with a budget, kind of see how much you're spending, and then compare that to how much you're spending going out to eat each week. Right? So if you claim that buying groceries and fresh produce is really expensive, tally up how many times you go get coffee, you go get ice cream, you go out to eat with a friend, right? All great things, but I think you'll very quickly realize that you could save a lot of money if you learn to cook more foods at home. I hope this was helpful for you to see what I buy when I go grocery store shopping. I know it can be really overwhelming, so if you're ever looking for someone to go with you, I love to grocery shop. It's something that I enjoy going to do, so I would love to shop with you as well. All right, and with that, I'm so grateful for you, so glad that you are here along this journey with me. I'll see you next time.